Hey y'all, hey, what's going on? How y'all doing? It's your girl BRANDIJENAE, and we are back. I am back with another review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now listen, I know I missed y'all last week. I know I did not get on last week, and I apologize. So we're gonna talk about some of the new things that's going on in Housewives news, okay, like Brit filing for lawsuit against Bravo for 20 million, right? And also Porsha wins in her divorce, okay? I didn't think that she wouldn't. I'm like, okay, that's what a prenup is for. She learned her lesson the first time. And it was interesting to hear some of the breakdown in which, she knew what she was doing. Like that man did ask her to quit all her jobs. And so I would do the same thing. If a person want me to quit all my jobs, then you should pay me what it is that I'm getting paid to leave all the jobs. I didn't see one thing wrong with it. And I don't think that that's gold diggerish. I don't know why anybody would assume that. Like, no, that's compensation. Like, and it's not necessarily like now it sound like I'm getting into what what video trap was. No, nothing like that. Because what I'm saying is you're not paying for that, even though she happens to be a romantic partner. But you're not paying for the services or the things that you guys do together as that's not what you're paying for. So I think, yeah, you should supplement her income if you don't want her to work. That seems fair to me, especially if you got it. I mean, why not? But yeah, we are going to talk about, then we're going to talk about both episodes that we missed. So since I did not come on last week, and not necessarily both episodes, I'm really going to skim past 14 and really just kind of touch in 14 as we are going through episode 15. And I know you'll be able to catch up because I'm gonna make sure I tie it back into episode 14, okay? Now, first things first, let's just talk really quick about Brit filing a lawsuit against Bravo for 20 million. So I got this report. Let me pull it up. Okay, I'm going to read it out loud to you. Bravo's flagship Real Housewife franchise is reportedly facing listen to me, its biggest crisis yet. Sources suggest NBC Universal is considering pulling the plug on one of its most iconic shows following a $20 million defamation lawsuit filed by Real Housewives of Atlanta star Brit Edie. So we all end up calling her Brittany anyway. So good to know that that is actually her name. Okay. Filed on June 5th, 2025, the suit accuses Bravo, NBC Universal, and producers of defamation, sexual harassment. I don't know if I can say that. False light, intentional emotional distress, and fostering a hostile work environment. Now, I believe a lot of that is due to Brit feeling basically like those photos that Kenya showed were not hers. She is alleging that she did ask to see them. So at the time, whenever she was able to see them, and we are only assuming it had to be at some point before she got to the reunion. Yeah, and I guess now that seems to kind of clock. That seems to make sense. Because I remember in the last video, I don't know if you watched it, but go back and watch it. I kind of was really confused about kind of the chain of events. And so with this kind of being said, talked out loud, and me thinking about it, I'm like, okay, if she's saying that she did ask to see the photos because she was not in the spa. We saw that on camera. She was not in the spa. And I don't think anybody personally really took the time to dissect the photo. So that makes sense why nobody else was able to probably corroborate it. To say, well, yeah, I saw it too, girl, she did say she had the internet scrub. So her expectation is that nobody is supposed to have anything of hers. And so I don't think the question is whether she has anything like that or not. I think what she is really wanting to point out is hey, they didn't give me the information up front so that I could be upfront and say, that's not me. And so I had to go with this storyline, and I had to, tell my mother this thing that I would never have said if I had saw that photo when I asked, right? I do understand that. I do understand that. Brit is not my favorite person this season, but I do understand that. I mean, and yeah, and like I said, and it makes sense that she didn't say anything prior because they didn't tell her or let her see the photo until the reunion, because the reunion is where you have to come back and rehash everything. And although Kenya is not at the reunion and did not film for the reunion, they're still going to talk about it with Brit, because it's still a part of her storyline, because she had to sit her mama down on the couch and tell her that this girl posted a photo of her giving fellatio on a poster. I like, now that I'm thinking about it and talking about that again out loud, and with her kind of putting that little, sauce in it, I'm thinking, she might. And so here's the next part, okay? With high-profile lawsuits, including from other Housewives alums, insiders tell. Where am I at? Let me go. Sorry, y'all. Let me get back to it. But so what they basically are saying with Bravo is there has been, of course, we know Nene Leakes had an issue where she filed suit. They have settled since then. She is in good graces with NBC Universal. I just want to make that clear also. But also Bethany Frankel, which was a New York housewife, original cast. And there's another New York housewife, Leah Sweeney. She came in towards the end. I can't really call the season, but she's one of the younger castmates. And she came in with a drinking problem, which she had been sober, but while she was on the show, she ended up relapsing. She had some really wild moments, and they've launched a suit. I believe part of that suit has had Bravo supposedly go back and like rearrange, I guess reorganize, or maybe come up with a better code of conduct. We don't really know exactly what the code of conduct is. What is the code of conduct for reality star people? I know that this is a company and a job and a corporation, but I wonder, like, I understand that like illegal things cannot happen while you are employed and working in the workplace, wherever that may be, while you're filming. That's number one. But I think as far as that goes, what other things? Hey, thanks for joining. What other things fall into the realm of what you put in a code of conduct for reality stars, if your goal is to bring drama? Because I guess you could add rules, right? Because we already see the range of reality shows that there are, like from Baddies, which is they have security guards there? Maybe a few. I think the point is to let them fight. And then it's all the way up. Now, here's my thing. I agree that these housewives don't have no business doing none of that. So we don't see none of that. But this thing has been going far with how far. I'm gonna just say Kenya specifically. I think she's been a liability to Bravo for a long time. And it's interesting that I think when Brit first put out the lawsuit, I think everybody started to, or especially once this report came out that Bravo is considering canceling the whole franchise of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Particular franchise. Um, and I'm kind of saying like this has been kind of the writing on the wall ever since Kenya came in, because I think she brought in this kind of like mean spirited, dirty thing, and things did just get dirtier and dirtier. Nene came in, fighting fire with fire, and and it just everything got nastier and dirtier, all the way down to Dungeon Gate. Dungeon Gate. You know, and of course, we've always been trying to get back from Dungeon Gate because there we are. And even though that had nothing to do with Kenya at all, right? I'm not blaming Dungeon Gate on Kenya. I am saying that the way that the girls started to fight with each other, that is to me came from Kenya. And it's not about whether Kenya was telling the truth or not. I believe Kenya tells the truth. That's not a question of mine. But my opinion still agrees in that sense of I think she had just a nasty little way of fighting very dirty. And so we done slid all the way down to here. And now this girl has walked on to a $20 million lawsuit. And so let's read the rest. So with high profile lawsuits, including from other Housewives alums, insiders tell entertainment journalist Rob Shooter that NBC Universal is in full crisis mode. One commented, "What made Housewives great? The chaos. It's now the biggest threat. It's just lawsuit after lawsuit." I have to agree. Chime in the comments and tell me what you think. I have to agree with that. As much as I love Housewives, because I've been a true Housewives fan from day one, Orange County day one. So, and that includes Atlanta. This has gone down a dark path. Because no matter whether that picture was Brit or not Brit, it still was not okay for Kenya to do that. To whoever, sorry to that girl, in the words of Keke Palmer, or in her voice, sorry to that girl. Because what are you doing, Kenya? So that's separate with, and like I say, this is separate. So what do we think? Do we think that Brit can get 20 million? Listen, I don't think she's going to get 20 million, but I do think they will settle with her. I do think they will settle. Maybe I'll throw out a number like 5. And I don't know what I'm basing that on. I'm just throwing out a number. But I do think they will settle because, as I just said earlier, them not showing her, if she definitely has proof that they did not show her those photos and they did not send them to her, they didn't make an attempt to do that for her. I feel like that is liable on their part. I do. I think that is liable because that is something that should have been taken more seriously. Yeah. All right, so let's move on. Let me know what you think about Brit and the lawsuit. And do you think Bravo will actually cancel Real Housewives of Atlanta? Now listen, I've already called for a cancellation of Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you go back and listen to any of my past reviews about the seasons and the episodes this far, you'll see that it is my opinion that the show has run its course, just in general. And yeah, because of some of those antics and things that's going on. And also, I think it's going to be hard to formulate a cast, unless you do bring back just the older cast members. But it's going to be hard to formulate a cast of newbies, especially in Atlanta. Phaedra said it tonight in her confessional, and she said it on the show that, you know, this is a land of fakers in Atlanta. Scammers, fakers. I don't know if she said scammers. Let me take that back. But I think she did say fakers. And to her point, you know, it's going to be hard to get a new set of girls that's going to be authentic. And that's going to give us that old school feeling. So if they're not going to be able to kind of bring the Nene back at this point, if Real Housewives has any chance, it would have to be with Nene coming back. And I'm not sure if any, maybe Drew could stay. But again, I do feel like it's run its course, because in what era do we really want to see Nene kind of like fool along with Drew? That don't even make sense at this point. Excuse me, I needed to wet my whistle. So you say soap operas ran for years. I don't think the time has run out. And you are right about that. I mean, so that's kind of what I was thinking, is like, what would be a correct code of conduct so that we don't continue to have different antics happen that take these girls down to some, you know, lower gutter. Say Nene said Kenya would be the demise of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she about to bring down the entire show. That is right. Yeah, I agree. You know, and again, not like I say, I think that when Brit did file, I feel like a lot of people just kind of feel like it's her, or are questioning, like, is it her? And it's like, of course not. This really has been something that's been happening. I feel like a certain part of the audience has talked about that the whole time. This is kind of that thing that has made Kenya a villain. And at a certain point in time, it was good to be bad, but right now it's just too, you know, it's just too much. The difference though is that this is reality. So I get too often the shows are toxic. Yeah, yeah, right. This is people's real lives, you know, for real, you know, in general. And that's what I mean when I think about it with Brit. And Brit is not my favorite. Again, if you watch the other reviews, you'll see I'm kind of like not feeling Brit at all. I don't even know where they went and got her from. Okay, I'm like, how she end up here? And Funky Dineva, you'll see I did a short with a clip from Funky Dineva's show tonight. He did kind of chime in, and he feels like Brit pretty much fumbled the bag. Like, he doesn't understand why she messed this up. He really didn't. She shouldn't sue Bravo. Now, here's where I understand where he's coming from. Here's what I agree with. You really could have flipped that, because we already see like how broke you are. Like, that's already proven. So this $20 million lawsuit, without showing up to the reunion, you know, kind of fly by night, because you filmed the after show, you filmed your confessionals. So and again, it does make sense in the timeline, because even through all of this, she had not got them pictures, allegedly. This is what Brit is saying, allegedly. And so when I add those two things together, that does seem a little like some trickery and some effery. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to ride with Brit, just on the strength of there is something devious, and I'm not sure that that's the right word I would like to say, but there is something devious about what they did with those photos. And again, for her to have that conversation she had with her mother, that if she was able to see those photos prior to, she would know that wasn't her, and so she would just keep it to herself, probably. maybe, or have that conversation with her mother when it aired and when she was able to do that off camera. That is a bit shoddy. Now, Vicki Gunvalson on Real Housewives of Orange County, she had an interview. This has been some time ago, maybe around pandemic, sometime around there, because her and Andy Coleman kind of have fallen out. I'm not sure if they made up yet. Allegedly, I say allegedly. However, the issue was Vicki Gunvalson found out her mom passed away while they were filming, and Bravo aired it. And when I say while they were filming, I mean literally while they were filming. They were at whose house? Tamara's house, I think they were, or no, maybe they were at Vicky's house. No, it was at somebody else's house. Anyhow, Vicki did kind of explain some of the behind the scenes, what she was saying, like somebody kept calling, her daughter kept calling, her son called, Don is calling, her husband, everybody's calling, but she's filming. They playing Pinochle or something like that. Anyway, behind the scenes, she tells the producers, because at this time, nobody was breaking fourth wall. See, that's kind of something I feel like started with Atlanta too. But during this time, I can't remember exactly that season, maybe 8, something like that, 7 for Orange County. Anyway, she ends up saying, well, call the house phone. Call, I can't remember which house they was, whose house they was at, but call her house phone. Again, so that was, you see how long ago that was. There was still a house phone there. So she goes to the phone, and you just hear her lay out this scream, like literally. And so she breaks down on the floor. Anyway, the point is that she asked them not to air it. This is what Vicki said, allegedly. And of course they did. And so it has been, and of course her mom had been on the show. So it is a little bit of part of her storyline. But I do think that was a very, tender moment. But now we get into this contract and what you do sign and what you sign away. So I guess they're like, what level of privacy is the expectation? Is it fair? Now I'm about to play, I guess, a little devil's advocate. Is it fair to say maybe they did not need to show her the photos because she had already taken some sort of ownership about them being her? I don't know. I think they should have shown her the photos. I do. I wish Carlos would create a scripted housewife show. I don't know. I wonder how he would do with a scripted show. Yeah, I don't see how. Oh, honey, where did they find her? But like I said, I kind of do take up for her on this. I don't think she's gonna get 20 million. I will agree with Daniva on that. I also, I do agree with him about her fumbling her bag a little bit. I think that like I said, we already know she don't have no money, honey. Like you literally, and I agree. So we're gonna get into this episode. As a matter of fact, we'll hold Porsha and Simon off to the end. So let's get into the episode where, like I said, we'll get into the rest of it. Let me finish this thought. Sorry, y'all. Oh shoot, no, I already finished it. I mean, forgot it. Let me take a drink. Okay, hold on, y'all. I'm gonna give me a cough drop and a little bit of Vaseline. It's been a little dry out here, and I guess I've been talking a little too much, y'all. Yeah, just flapping my little lips, sure. Let me grease these little suckers up for a minute. Let me grease these little suckers up for a minute. But yeah, so I'm just saying, what was with Brit, how she showed up to that charity, or to the drive that Shamil was hosting before they went to Grenada. And she ended up only giving $250 and like 2 packs of paper towel and toilet tissue, 8 rolls of toilet tissue. Like, really? And this is not you donating. Hold on. To your girlfriend down the street. Like, oh, she, need a little help or something, It's not that. Like, you literally call yourself walking up. And I don't know how she wasn't embarrassed herself. That's what, and this goes back to where did they find her at? Because as much as you was flossing and faking what you had, honey, you was flossing about the wrong thing. How you walking around with a Birkin bag and you tripping about giving these people a good 1,000? How? So with that being said, I agree with Dineva when he says she fumbled. She didn't pay attention to what Nene Leakes did. She didn't pay attention to what all those girls did. I mean, outside of, the first timers, Brit should have been embarrassed herself. Yes, she should have. She really should have. Yeah. Yeah, she really should have. You worried about about flossing on the wrong stuff, and that was when you could have had the opportunity to show up, especially after you didn't feed them people at your clubhouse event and said that like that was cool. Anyway, so yeah, you could have came on this show and you really could have used it in a better way and to the best of your advantage. Now, this does look like a money grab. It feels like low-hanging fruit. Because like I said, on one end, you sign a contract. You sign a contract that you can be portrayed in any type of way. I don't know how far that go. I'm not a lawyer. But that sounds like that's covering a few bases. And I was having a conversation with my cousin about this a couple weeks ago where, like I said, NBC Universal has been in business for a long time. I do find it hard to believe that Brit would be the reason why they would cancel the entire franchise. But it seems like she has no shame. It does to me. It seems like she doesn't have any shame. Yep, yep, yeah. And she doesn't seem shameful about it, you know. Because I do think that there was a better way to even go about getting that information out. I think you could have showed up to the reunion and you could have let that be. I feel like what she didn't really understand, even though she has probably and you know what? I'm not gonna give her this credit. This wasn't a big thing that she did necessarily. It was big for the season because the season pretty much sucked, y'all. I think there I go. I said it. I was waiting until, I guess we saw the reunion and everything. But like if that was the most exciting thing that's happened this whole season, then that says a lot. And what I am saying too is maybe that's the intention she wanted, but I don't think it's going the way she felt. I think we all see it as a money grab. Um, and so I think she has probably tarnished more of a reputation. The way we said she probably belonged over on Baddies, I wouldn't be surprised if we see her down to the Baddies bar. Where they be going? To the Baddies bar, Baddies Africa, Baddies somewhere. She'll find her way over there because that's about where she's gonna be. Or is there another little okay, now all I know about is wherever Baddies at. Yeah, wherever Baddies at, that's where she's gonna be next. So here we go. Let's get into the episode, y'all. Let's get into the episode. So first off, make sure if you are not subscribed, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Yay. I'm kind of thinking about what we're going to call our community. I am going to update my channel name. It won't be BRANDIJENAE. I'm trying to decide if it's going. I'm trying to decide. And I might need your help with that. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel, because I am going to take a poll in my community section, and you must be subscribed to get over there. Okay, so I really want y'all help. And let me tell you this too. It's my birthday tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow. So wish me a happy birthday. And like this video. That's what I want to tell you. Like this video, share with a friend, and let's get into it, okay? Let's get into it. Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, what I am going to do is lead us into from the end of episode 14, leading into the beginning of episode 15, because we come in and I think they were they still at the table at the beginning of the show? Now I forgot, because I didn't watch them and they kind of went together for me. Anyhow, no, I do just want to start at the dinner table. The episode ends in episode 14 with them having dinner for the night. During that dinner, Shamia decided to call. Actually, Shamia did not call Brit out. Shamia was being passive aggressive and kind of bringing up conversation to the table to say, like when it's time to give charity, like you can't be having Hermes or Birkin bags and rolling in Rolls Royces and, doing all these different things. And then you kind of don't show up in that big way, for charity. Kelly chimed in. Brit didn't like that. And so Brit ended up kind of calling Shamia out about the passive aggressiveness. Like, why are you kind of saying something but not talking directly to me? Because here's the thing. Even if she was, because Shamia said, well, we all have Rolls Royces. Okay, girl, but you was talking about her. Like, don't play. And you really should say something directly to her, because not only do you know you was talking to her, she knows you was talking to her. She know what the hell she gave you. She didn't expect you to call her out at the table like that. Now, they have that moment at the table, and now it's time for them to leave, which they leave pretty heated, right? They get in the two vans, and they headed back to, I think they're at a villa or something, so they headed back to where they're sleeping, okay? In that damn ride, Shamia gets a phone call from her husband. And unfortunately, her husband is calling to let her know that he has to let the nurse go, the baby nurse that's working with their daughter, Shiloh, that she had the room temperature way too cold. She did not have any clothing on the baby. And it was compromising to their child's immune system. Of course, we know Shiloh has a lot of health issues. She was born with a lot of different things, and so of course you don't want your healthy or child without any other issues or ailments happening. You don't want any of your children to be sick, but especially not one who that they have such an compromised immune system. So this is what I do want to ask with that. I feel like I record it. I think I did record him saying this, because this is unpopular opinions, okay? That's why y'all see me say that, because there are going to be times when I'm going to talk about something, and I'm going to bring up something, and I'm going to have an opinion in the discussion about something that might not seem appropriate necessarily, or it might seem like it's going against the grain, because I thought I heard her husband say she can't be doing that, throwing her around. And then the next thing he said was she had no clothes on the baby. The room was freezing cold. It's going to compromise her immune system. So he went into that. Of course, either way, Shamia is a wreck, okay? So when they get back to where they're staying, Everybody just rallies around Shamea. They, allow her to just cry, be in her feelings. Her good friend Porsha was right there for her. Yay, we love to see it. They really did very good on this trip. And out of nowhere, here come Brit, flip-flopping her tail in the scene. Now, y'all know how I feel about Contessa. Contessa, that's who she remind me of, the way she just flip-flop her way in the scene. Because, of course, I just told you her and Shamea was just at the dinner table arguing with each other. And Shamea was being, passive-aggressive with this girl. Now, listen, that's what I'm getting here. So they all rally around Shamea. Here come Brit out of nowhere, like, Shamea, I got you, girl. We gonna be here for you, girl. And she just goes into this dramatic, like, no matter what, and all doesn't matter what we've been through. Like, I'm here for you. I'm gonna be here for you. And Drew was looking like, where did this come from? Like we all was, because where did that come from? And let Shamea, like her friend right there, like, back up, girl. But Shamea, Shamea ain't thinking about her either way. So she just let her be over dramatic and let her have it. But here's what I want to say. Number one, I feel like I heard that man say that that lady threw the baby. And so I am hoping that this situation, I'm not even going to say is more serious, but hopefully it's not physical, okay, in addition to just the neglect that that woman put the baby in. But I have a few questions about a lot of things, which, like, I did, Miss Dogan, you said you would have been on the next flight getting to your baby. As much money as she has, she absolutely could do that. I was about to have an approach from, like, my pocketbook and my standpoint. But even from just the standpoint of being away, that's the worst thing that really could happen, is something happens to your child and you somewhere on vacation. And in most circumstances, you like, say, you may not be able to get away. Like, say, for instance, if you had been on a cruise. But again, this is not her circumstance, so we don't even need to discuss any of that. She actually absolutely could have got her butt up on the flight. Now, so that brings me to the questions that I have about this nurse. And now that you are a housewife, here we go with the being able to dissect and open up what it is you show us, right? I know that there's some saying that Brit has had something not so nice to say about Shamea and her daughter, or Shamea's daughter had something nice to say about Shamea's daughter, Shiloh. And I'm wondering if it has anything teetering around the fact that she didn't go to her child while they were in Grenada. And again, I understand why a person might attack her that way, because we done already talked about Shamea got the money. Shamea got the money. But go back to my earlier reviews. Again, this is unpopular opinion. So I already kind of questioned something else, which, when we saw Shamea's home and she told us it was the largest purchase they bought, home purchase for the year, I just always wonder what year did they get it? Again, we know that Shamea had been asked to be on the Housewives prior to this season. I'm wondering what season that was. Do we know what season that was? If you do, drop down in the comments and let me know. But with that also, did the house come as another way to get back on the Housewives? Are we in some way, shape, or form maybe projecting some sort of lifestyle? I'm just questioning the things as they showing up. Because I'm not trying to say that Shamea is a liar. I am not trying to say that she don't have what she says she have. But I do think she probably, if anybody was in a position to get up and go, it was her. from what they tell us, right? Saying if I didn't have the money, I would be borrowing something. Yeah. I mean, now, fact is she didn't go. Okay. Fact is that she did not leave. And the girls did rally around them. Nice moment, except for Brit flip-flopping her way into the moment and really being over dramatic, crying as if she, knows. I mean, listen, everybody can be empathetic to that situation, but what Brit did was really out of line. However, nobody could step to her and let her know that at that moment because it was really about Shamia. And so everybody went to bed, and this is how we come to the season 14 opener, where Angela and Drew are in their villa, getting up, sitting at the table, discussing what took place the night prior, which Angela did bring up Shamia being passive aggressive with Brit, but I just wanted to go right into Angela saying that Shamia was having a really rough time with her daughter. And so she say, I'm sitting there empathizing. She say, and here comes Brit, out of nowhere, talking about, and so she kind of emulates Brit. And she say, then I make the mistake of looking over at you. And so of course the producers go back to that clip because I'm like this with my face too sometimes. Like sometimes I can just have a look on my face and I'm not really sure that I'm not knowing that it's there. Sometimes I do know because I know that I'm confused, and so I know I'm probably looking confused. But Drew says, like, what? She said, girl, the look on your face. She said, I couldn't do nothing but almost bust up laughing. She said, I couldn't take you serious. So that was kind of cute and funny. Drew say, like, listen, I thought I was the actress. Yes, honey. Brit was overdoing it. She was overkill. And I guess that was Brit showing up as Brit, or whoever we think she is, whoever she wants us to think she is. I wonder who's showing up to the lawsuit. Okay, then we see Shamia in her villa calling her mom on the phone. So Shamia's checking in with her mom to check on Shiloh, check on her baby, and to get some clarity about what it is that took place. So her mom explains, Mama Morton describes how she arrived early to get Shiloh. So I'm wondering if Mama Morton has a set time that she's supposed to come. And so, because she said I arrived early, not early in the morning, she just said early. So I'm thinking maybe she came earlier than she was supposed to. Because that's also my question too. I wonder how long did they have this nurse? I wonder, like, do the nurses just come in and out? Like, and when we get to the conditions that the mom described, I'm thinking to myself, like, where is anybody else checking on the baby? Like, I don't listen. Okay, because I don't even want to sound like I am attacking somebody's parenting. I don't think that's cool in a case like this, right? Like we had some people where like doggone well, but in a case like this, I'm kind of like, this is up for, I guess, a personal thing, and I don't want to attack somebody about how they personally handle their own child. Like that's, I guess, up to them. It is not. I guess it is. And I don't want to get on my platform and sound like I'm like bringing her down, because that's not what I want to do either. But I honestly have the unpopular opinion that now I kind of want to know more about this system that you have set up with your daughter and what is going on. So is that why you able to have the jobs that you have? Is that why you able to go and record a song? Is that why you able to now join Housewives? Because y'all pop these nannies in and out whenever needed. Let's go back into what Mama Morton had to say when she showed up early to come and get the baby or to spend some time with the baby. I don't know which one she was doing, probably just to spend some time with the baby. But she came early, whatever she came to do. She said she went in that room, honey, and it was freezing. She said the baby didn't have no socks on, no clothes on, nothing. She said her and the baby was shivering. Could you imagine? And see, now that I'm saying this and having this review, I am saying too, you're right. I would have been on the first damn thing smoking. Get me on whatever. Put me on one of these whatever I had to do to get up out of there. Come get me a helicopter, rent me a private jet, a PJ, ain't that what they call it? Rent me a PJ. Get me the F up out of here. You mean to tell me the lady I hired? And so back to my questions about this nurse. Do y'all know the people? Is there any type of development of a relationship with the people you leaving your child with? And not just child, but your sick child. So sometimes when we see, okay, let me get back to what Mama Morton had to say real quick, because I'm going to tell you about when we see Shamia crying, I kind of feel uncomfortable about that. Okay, kind of close, similar, and I hate to do this. I hate saying this with love, like love in my heart. I'm feeling like this is a situation, and it seems really adjacent to Mia with the DNA and the father stuff over there on Potomac. You know, this is real adjacent because it's opening up this door, and it's not her fault. Now that's what I'll give her. This is not her fault that this is what it is, because she answered that phone, and I know she did not expect that to come out. Anyway, let's get back to what Mama Morton said. So she said she picked up the baby, you know, so she could warm her up, put her against her chest, like she wanted to warm the baby up. Says it took up to an hour to get that baby's body temperature, you know, regulated and back to what it should be. Shamia asked what was the nurse doing while this was happening. She said the nurse was bundled up, had a hat on, scarf, like bundled up, honey. Got the baby over there with nothing on, and she's sitting there bundled like what I am with my robe, with hat, all kind of stuff. So brings me my question. How long have they known this person? Again, do y'all just hire people? Because some of that just seems, I am not going to use the word, it seems entitled. And so again, is this something she had always done? Because we have seen her have her jobs and things. And maybe it has been something she always done because she was working at the radio station and then at the stadium, basketball stadium. And I think she still does the basketball stadium, but I'm not sure that she does the radio station anymore. I don't know. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm judging her parenting, because that's not what I'm doing. But I do have questions about this situation. And maybe I'm not entitled to do that, even as a viewer. Maybe I should just leave it be. But, you know, it just that just seemed weird to me. And, you know, again, I thought I heard him say through that baby. And and I agree with you, Miss Dogan. I just would have been on the first thing going, because ain't no way I would have heard what I heard. Let me see if I got the recording so I can play it, y'all. And then, because you're going to hear him say it. Let me see. Okay. No, that's not it. Okay, let me see. Let me see. I thought I did. Ain't that nothing? Maybe I never did press record. Yep. Nope. Maybe I didn't. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. My bad. I don't have it. That sucks. Okay. But I did think I'm sure I heard him say it. Like, I'm not making that up. But what I am thinking is, I don't know, and I don't know what other word he could have been reaching for. I know he's Nigerian, or Ghanaian, and I know that possibly, English is a second language, so maybe he was just, I don't know, meant something else, but I don't know. Thaw out, I don't know. But anyhow, I agree. I would have been on the first thing. And so, I don't think anybody else is asking these questions that I'm asking. So I'm just gonna move around off of it. I let y'all know what I feel about it. You guys can drop down in the comments and let me know. Like, what do you like? Do you kind of have the same questions? Now let me just give y'all this little bit. We're gonna be kind in the comments. We're not gonna, like, cuss people out. We not none of the commenters, and not none of the people that we're talking about, not unless the ones that deserve it, but we still gonna do it nice and politely. Okay, we're gonna do it nice nasty. Nice nasty. Okay, so Cynthia is in Porsha's room, and they kind of discussing. Cynthia's asking Porsha how is Shamia's baby doing. Porsha let her know that she's doing better, and so of course Cynthia is relieved by that. Here we get a knock on the door, like the police coming, and it's Phaedra. Phaedra come on in talking about she couldn't get her TV on, because she liked to watch crime docs. Now, who else likes to watch crime docs before they go to bed? Because I do also. That is so funny. I do too. But now listen, I did say I didn't understand why they brought Phaedra back. And I'm not saying that Phaedra is really giving this end of the season any specific boost. But this was real cute. Phaedra had some cute little scenes in this episode. And it was something that was a reminder of what she brings to Housewives. And as we were talking earlier about what it is, how do they come back from this? Are they going to cancel the whole season, or is it something where Phaedra, Porsha, Nene, Cynthia, is it something where we kind of get that dynamic back? Because it feels like we're so close to it. And what I mean, like I said, I'm not excited for Phaedra. I ain't necessarily going up for Phaedra, but Phaedra got her one-liners. They cute, they funny, and I get it. Phaedra plays her role and she does it well. Who can, at least on here, because she wasn't giving the Married to Medicine girls nothing. She wasn't giving them bitches over there nothing. And I am just quoting Phaedra Parks, okay? In the words of Phaedra Parks, bitches like these, that's what she said. She wasn't giving them anything. Okay, so Phaedra started to tell the girls that what she thought about Angela, that Angela was giving school teacher or Barbara Walters, because she was asking her all these questions. I'm not sure if we saw that part. I don't remember seeing Angela kind of be inquisitive to her that way, but I could see that happening. And she kind of mocks Angela, like, oh, I just want to ask you one more thing. That was kind of cute and funny. I just didn't like the thing with Phaedra having these opinions about the girls. It's just kind of like it's given you got this information like ahead of time, and so you kind of coming in prepared with these reads, and so we don't like that, Miss Phaedra Parks. Okay, get some better ones. Get some better ones. Okay. She starts to make fun of the African starter pack, honey. So she say everybody got the African starter pack, talking about the Rolls Royce. Is it the bag, the Ferragamo shoes, and what they call it? What did they call it? Because Cynthia had to ask, okay, now what is that? I needed to know what it was too. So thank you, Cynthia. And you see, I can't even recall what it was they named it. It's something about some diamonds and stuff, a bunch of diamonds, but it didn't sound like that. So thank you to Cynthia. See, and that's why we need a Cynthia. You know, like everybody will have something not so nice. Not everybody, but some people have not so nice things to say about Cynthia being boring. And I don't think Cynthia is boring. What we get from Cynthia is who she is. And sometimes we have to ask ourselves, like, what are we asking for? As I said in the top of the show with the Brit thing going on, like if we're saying that this is too far, we just really have to acknowledge when did it get too far. And then we got to stop being so critical on what is given to us. Cynthia she plays a good role of being able to get all the girls together. And not in this way where she's pitting people against each other. And that is important in an ensemble cast. Like it just is. You have to have, like, because if the girls is fighting, somebody, because that's how they get paid, somebody got to get them all together at some point, because at some point they do have to figure out how to make up and move on. And none of this is stuff that you do in your real life. So sometimes, even as we critique and are watching and taking in the character that's being presented to us, Brit, we have to keep in mind that these are not everyday situations. Now, do they go too far? With taking that into consideration, yeah. But they're not everyday situations. 9 times out of 10, if you don't like somebody, you're not going to have dinner with them, the next day. You know what I mean? You're not. Okay, let's get to it. So that was kind of cute and funny about the African starter pack. Porsha makes fun of Brit wanting to find out who's shading her. That was cute. Then here comes Phaedra with some tea. Now, the tea is what she called Kelly Tinkerbell, aka strawberry shortcake. She said the tea is Kelly doesn't want Brit using her style team. Now, this opens up a conversation where Porsha and Cynthia are kind of pointing out, like, well, I have noticed that they've been as close as they, was. Like Porsha say, they showed up to my birthday party in matching outfits. They basically like the Bobbsey twins. And so, let me see. I say, so they start to discuss how this must have created a rift and that they've been noticing between the two. This leads to Phaedra talking about Brit's inverted nipple. So Brit and Phaedra are sharing a villa together, and Brit clearly is very comfortable with her body, more than we, know. And I think that some people are trying to weaponize that against her about this lawsuit. See, like, that's why I'm kind of taking up for her in the sense of the lawsuit. I do think it's a money grab. I do think it's desperate. But I am saying, hey, go and get your 5 million, girl, because I guess you are gonna get about that, and because yeah, you're right. They should have showed you the picture. Like, if I had to take it to the jury, because I feel like everybody could agree with that, especially if she able to prove that she asked for it and they didn't give it to her. Yeah, I feel like any corporation like that, yeah, you entitled to what? Yeah, no. But yeah, it's definitely a money grab. So, like I say, Phaedra and Brit are sharing a villa together. And so, this is what I want to tell y'all. So Don Juan, now I'm going to watch Don Juan's videos, but thanks to Housewives from a Housewives, shout out girl. Hopefully she'll be getting back on to go live with me soon. But thanks to her, she go over there, she gets some of those clips. So go on and follow her over on Instagram, okay? And so I did see Don Juan. I guess he over there reviewing the shows, honey. And listen, and I said it like I'm not doing the same thing. All I'm saying is I don't want that Don Juan's opinion about what's going on. Like, I really don't. Anyway, so he said pretty much it was some extra tea about the way the episode ended from 14. So here's what, remember I told y'all all the people rallied around Shamia because she got that news on the ride back to the villa. And here comes Brit, basically overacting, crying, telling Shamia how much she gonna be there for her, and no matter what they went through and everything at the table, she's been in the past. Don't worry about it. So now she's ready to take a shot. Like, I'm gonna even take a shot for you. And earlier in the episode 14, and let me make sure I'm saying it right. 14, yes. Brit gave Shamia a lot of flack about always wanting to do shot o'clock. Now, that's what I feel like Shamia is trying to bring. Shamia always has brought that to the housewives. It's like party girl, fun girl. So, Brit, get with the program. Now, I am a firm believer of not forcing people to drink. So if a person says no, Shamia, then it's no. I do agree with that. You didn't need to really keep asking her more and more or trying to convince her to. But now all of a sudden in this inappropriate moment, she ready to take a shot. So now she getting everybody pour. I think they took the shot. Somehow she get over to the island. She done came up out of this dress that she in, and honey, the bammed her doggone boobs on the doggone island, and now she moving them around. So according to Don Juan and his extra team, he said Brit got all the way naked, and I believe it. I believe it just because of what she had on. Because what she had on looks like it was something that tied all together. I don't know if you like. It kind of reminded me of something like a long piece of fabric that you could, twist and turn and make it into your dress or whatever. That's what it put me in the mind frame of. So I believe she did get butt naked. And it kind of put me in the mind frame of what they did with the bolo thing, even though they didn't go too far with it. And of course, nobody was talking about anybody here, any type of relations. I just kind of thought, I didn't know what that's supposed to prove. And I think that what Don Juan also said, at least he gave me the spirit of saying this in the way of like the girls were shocked. And I guess maybe that's why my mind went to Bolo, because it's like, well, all the stuff they was doing at the Bolo, like these most of the same girls and everybody else seem like they freaky dicky. And when we get down to the bottom of the episode, yeah, we gonna think about the top of the episode, and it's like, well, think about what Don Juan had to say about seeing Brit naked and being shocked and appalled. And yet now Phaedra wasn't there, but Phaedra doesn't give me Phaedra. At the funniest part about that is it's probably the one that's least shocked. You know what I mean? Phaedra probably clapping her own girl. But yeah, I believe she did get butt naked. And so, like I said, he made it seem like everybody there was shocked about it. And I don't understand the point. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what that's supposed to prove about Brit. Yeah, and it kind of feels like a pile up a little bit. There I go, kind of taking up for her. See, I got a good heart after all, because here's Don Juan. Like, who is this hoe? Right? Like, who is this hoe? Why are you? Who sent for you? Because again, what did he have? Now, I didn't listen to the whole video, so maybe there is something that he get down to about it. Maybe it is something, some point to it. But from that clip, all I'm saying is, I don't know what that was supposed to prove, that she did, get all the way naked. But okay, she let everybody in the room see what she has. So what we do see next, let me get to the part. So brings up Phaedra brings up Brit's inverted nipple, which says that it goes in. Let me see. Say they showed it and they just blurred out her privates. Talking about the pictures. They showed her. Okay, butt naked. Okay, I couldn't believe it. All I could think was, right, who is this hoe? And back to Brit. Oh no. Back to this inverted nipple, child. So she's talking about how Brit took off her shirt, the nipple was in, and it said she popped it out like a little, like I don't know, like a little pop. And so this leads Porsha to talking about Cynthia got an inverted clit. Now, I'm guessing we know that she know that from Bolo. And not to be like on no freaky stuff, like maybe it was Cynthia in the room with her and Bolo. What it is I think it was her that went and put the vibrator in her underwear. It was either her or Shamia, or maybe together. I think. I'm gonna end up going back to watch that season just to go find out. Anyway, but yeah, how does how does Porsha know that Cynthia has an inverted clit? Cynthia is mortified, okay, but then she was like, it is not inverted, it has a hood, okay. Here go Phaedra talking about your clit has the KKK or on it. That was real funny. We had a nice I liked the little banter they had. It was cute. It was, it was cute. It was cute, and gave us a little nostalgia. Again, it's not enough to carry the whole season, but that was a cute moment. Again, I always like when they go on girls' trips. They usually have a good time, and it's really fun to watch them do that. And I like the way they set up the rooms. Who was in charge of the rooms? Shamia and Kelly, huh? They did a good job. I think. What do y'all think? Drop down in the comments and let me know. Yeah, she got right. Yeah, I don't know how, but maybe to take her mind off of it. Now, here's the thing. I can understand that because to our point, while we're saying she didn't go, because right, ain't no point in pointing out that she should have. She made the choice to stay. And with that being said, I guess maybe you should take your mind off of it because ain't no point in you sitting around here thinking and moping about it. Because if you was gonna do that, you get your tail on the plane. Say Fei Fei is a Kiki. That's true. She is. That's what I'm saying. Like this was an episode where I thought, again, I'm not saying that they needed to bring her in, but I am saying, all right, I see where they was going with that. She is bringing a little fun to her little fun, little, stuff, her little yang, yang, yang. Yeah, this room situation, I like Shamia and Kelly did a really good job with this room situation. I feel like it was the best like housewives going on the trip, picking their rooms, not picking them, being assigned their rooms. And I think they did a really good job of mixing the housewives, especially with the new and the old. Even though Cynthia, like, who is it Cynthia and Porsha? I think they are rooming together, ain't they? So even though they know each other, I just like the room situation. It felt organic and cool. And nobody seemed like they was disappointed or I gotta do this, No, it's yeah. Okay. Okay, let me go to what's next. All right, here we go. I was pulling up my notes. All right, so next we see Brit joining Kelly in Kelly's room. Kelly laying down, discussing with Brit how she's preparing for a phone call she has to have with her attorney to talk about her divorce, her upcoming divorce. She asked Brit how she felt about last night. Brit calls Kelly out on jumping in on the side of Shamia to second her emotion about the donation. Kelly ends up chiming in on episode 14 as that ended, chiming in at that dinner table after Shamia pointed out that you can't carry, this Hermes or whatever bag and drive the Rolls Royce and, just not show up in every way. Brit kind of got offended by that because it was passive aggressive. I can understand her kind of snapping. That's the one time Brit snapped and it was appropriate for her to snap. However, Kelly chimes in and kind of, she's diffusing it, but at the same time, Brit felt like you trying to check me in front of all these girls. And they did come in as the besties. We do know at this point that they have fallen out. And we are finding out that clearly it has something to do with this glam team. Right. No fights over the room. You say, can't wait to get to the boys. Right. Okay. Yes, honey. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let's get to it. Look, I was getting to it. I was getting to it. Where that's from, y'all? Do you know? Okay, let me see where I'm at in my notes. Let me see where I'm at in my notes. But listen, so she flats out asks, so Brit flats out asks Kelly, like, what is this about? She was feeling a little ganged up on, and I think she was asking her about Shamia, like, what is Shamia's deal? So Kelly explains that she does think it was just about the donations, that she points out to Brit that she shouldn't, she just sat down and told them about how she took her whole team to go get plastic surgery. I said that in the last review. That's why y'all need to be making sure you subscribe and like this video and go check out the rest of the other reviews, okay? But I already said that, like, yeah, I said that about her not feeding those people at the event she had. Like talking about, oh, I only wanted like these people to get a menu. Like, excuse me, then you should have invited just those people and had something small and intimate with just them. Why is this going on like this and you don't have enough money to feed everybody you invited? Let me get back to where I was at. Right. So she tell her about that. Like, you show up talking about you did this. And that's hard to believe why she said that at the same event that she couldn't feed them people at. So where, girl, you then when it's time for charity, you're not gonna show up for that either? You're not gonna show up for that either? So she said things, let me see. Okay. Brit tells her, and her response is that it's not that complicated for me. So Kelly was kind of trying to give her a little bit of etiquette. And we know that Brit can use that. Okay. Brit is like Marlo, but Marlo is a little more polished. Okay. Brit needs some etiquette and some polishing. I ain't saying Marlo got total etiquette, but Marlo clearly can get herself into some rooms. Well, like, you know what? Let me take that back. I guess they're pretty much one and the same. Okay, never mind. Maybe that's what they was looking for, huh? Just a younger version of Marlo. Listen, let me stop. Okay, because how Marlo catch a strike? Right? Marlo ain't got nothing to do with this. She got nothing to do with this. And I like Marlo, so I am not trying to, shade that girl in any type of way. But I was just saying it seemed reminiscent, like what we was just talking about. It seemed a little reminiscent. Okay, so basically, let's see. So Brit tells her, like, it's not that complicated for me. Basically feeling like Kelly thinks more about what people think of her. And so she does a lot to project. So she points out and just kind of gets to the point with Kelly. She says, like, your team. I think you use your team as a shield, your hairstylist, your makeup artist, your do. And so I think in her confessional, she ends up saying, like, basically, like, yeah, you jumped on Shamia's side because the real problem we having is you let me use your squad for when they was in Nashville. And I'm guessing Brit decided to continue to use them. And Kelly doesn't want her to. But I like how Brit did just kind of tell her up front how she felt. Let me see. She said basically she expected Brit to find her own team. That's what Kelly said. She expected her to find her own team, and not to take her team. That's what she said in her confessional. But Brit lets her know that she expected her loyalty at that table. When it came to Shamia, she let her know, like, she wanted her loyalty. Like, don't call me out in front of the group. If it's something that I need to know, like, come and tell me. I like that about Brit. I gave her kind of a gold star about handling that way with her friend. Not throwing Shamia in the middle of it and not guilting her friend to behave a particular way because she's trying to be Shamia's friend. So Brit did good with that, and this is what's unfortunate about where we are now with Brit, is that she's never going to get another chance to do this, because it seems like, and did Porsha say this on her in her first couple of YouTubes? It seems like, outside of her overacting with Shamia, this is where, when we see her kind of show up in these moments as herself, where she does shine, and she would have been able to really have the opportunity to hone in on that, we might kind of saw a different Brit, or maybe the real Brit, because that's, I think, the problem. We just don't know who she is, and we don't like what we see thus far. But she did good this episode so far. And I'm kind of giving her, some props on how she handled that with her friend Kelly. So now they ready to meet up and get some lunch before they kind of meet up with the prime minister. We don't know that that's what's happening just yet. But of course, they got to do a shot o'clock. Okay, so everybody coming out. Kelly and Shamia got on matching bathing suits. It's kind of got African like attire. It's cute. But, of course, the girls got something to say, because everybody is noticing that Kelly and Brit are kind of like distant. They not doing a Bobbsey twins, deal. So, Angela said, "Ooh, she think Brit gonna be mad about that when she come out and see that." So everybody come on now. The prime minister ends up showing up. The girls are falling all over that man. Now, didn't we meet him? We met them we met him the first night they came. And so, right, because Angela said he would be good with Brit. With Kelly. Like, Kelly should get on top of. But baby, all the girls was falling all over that man, especially that Phaedra. But I ain't gonna lie, he looked like he was feeling Phaedra. He did. He did. He gave her a hug at the end. He gave her a little he liked where he felt on that. What you say? And say, yeah, I love Marlo. Leave her out of this. Yeah, Marlo did catch a stray real quick, but I love Marlo too. So, okay, listen, it's all love. It's all love. Even when I have my unpopular opinions, it's all love. And if it ain't, you gonna know, because I'm a Gemini. Okay. Okay, let me see. So, like I said, the girls was all over him, honey. And basically he came in to fill the girls in on jab jab. So that's what we're about to get to, see the girls do. All of this time we was wondering, like, what are they doing? I don't know about y'all, because I didn't know what to Google. So I didn't Google anything. And so it is called jab jab. Now, they have another shot to commemorate their occasion. Porsha points out to Phaedra that the prime minister is bow-legged. So Phaedra takes take that opportunity to tell in her confessional about how she dated a bow-legged guy before. And, basically, I guess she was insinuating that they might be packing. And we seem to agree a lot. Yep, that's true. Okay, so I guess that's what the insinuation. She also said you don't see too many bow-legged people around. And you're right. I think they kind of getting their stuff corrected, Phaedra. Okay, that's what I think is happening today. Like, we don't see kids getting chicken pox anymore. Things have evolved. Okay. So what is Jab Jab? Jab Jab is a carnival-like festival that started out as a protest. It then was turned into a celebration in which they go and pour like black oil all over their bodies. They wear like hats with horns. And I think this is to represent like a devil type of I guess character. And the representation is basically, let me just look it up, because I did look it up. Okay. Jab Jab is a post-emancipation tradition rooted in Grenada's history of slavery and resistance. The character is a powerful symbol of the island's history and cultural identity, representing the rebellious spirit of enslaved Africans who used the Jab Jab persona to mock their masters. Okay, so Jab Jab is a prominent feature of the Joubert celebration, a pre-dawn street parade that kicks off Carnival. Participants known as Jab Jabs parade through the streets, often led by individuals called captains, who lead call and response chants. Excuse me. The black oil or paint symbolizes the resistance and defiance of enslaved Africans who used the guise of the devil to assert their identity. The chains worn by Jabs represent the shackles of slavery and their performances, often with taunts and rhythmic dances, symbolize the breaking of these bonds. Jab Jab is a celebration of freedom, resilience, and the enduring spirit of Grenada. It's a potent symbol of cultural pride and reminder of the island's history and triumph over oppression. So that is what it is. I said it was something like Carnival, okay? And it looked like it's a lot of fun. You know, I don't know about getting that oil out. We're gonna talk about the girls getting that oil out when they get down to it. All right, so Kelly tells Drew that they have the same anniversary day. We find out that they got married different times but the same date. Drew kind of talks a little bit about where her and Ralph are. They ceased all communication. As we saw, Ralph was going posting dry receipts, I think all weekend, something like that. I didn't pay much attention to it because listen, I think that Drew is about as honest as she want to be, and that's all we're about to get up out of her. And that's all we're about to get up out of her. So, and you know, Ralph is, I don't like him. I don't like, he's sleazy. I don't like, he's sleazy. Creepish and sleazy. So go on about it. But she just talked about how they cease communication, where they are, and how hard it is that she still does love him because like she didn't expect for them to be in that place. You know, that's understandable. She happened to ask Kelly, like, what does she do? Because I think Kelly's been going through her divorce for 3 years or quite some time, or maybe separated for 3. And so she said, what have you been doing for those dates? And so Kelly just said, maybe crying, you know, trying to get through them the best way she can. That was a nice moment because as that happens, Kelly has to then leave and take her call with her lawyer for her divorce. Angela asks Brit how she feels once Kelly left. So here go Angela stirring the pot. How does Brit feel about what happened? Brit lets her know that she did talk to Kelly, and then Porsha, she told her that she talked to Kelly. She kind of gave her some of what that conversation was like. Hey, I let you know, like, you were speaking up for Shamia. You know, I want you to kind of have my back. And then here come Porsha interrupting and introduces Shamia as the Queen of Kenya. Now, Porsha had this really big hat. I'm not sure who the designer is, if it's a hat she got on the island, because I'm not sure how she would even pack that thing. But it's this really, really big hat. It looks like it's a lot of feathers on it, like ostrich feathers. It's really nice and pretty, very avant-garde. But Shamia has it on, and she gave her black bathing suit to wear along with it, and she basically is going to give her a nice little photo shoot. So that was cool because here we are still supporting Shamia because again, she did decide to go, you know, back to her house to her daughter. So let's just make sure we keep her spirits up. So I thought that was really thoughtful and nice of Porsha to do that. And that was really cute. Nice, cute moment. And I think that's a nice little way to keep these girls in their business about y'all friendship. Now, don't forget, she gave her the swimsuit because Shamia's luggage was lost. So Shamia still doesn't have her luggage on this trip just yet. Now, Kelly has her call with her attorney. It sounds like they're trying to assess assets. That's what it sounds like they're trying to make sure they got all the assets. So Kelly discusses about a lot that was gifted to her by her husband or soon to be ex-husband. And she believes that he sold the lot. So she doesn't know where the paperwork is. She was telling him like she think that she had gotten it in a card and that he may have put it up somewhere, and she really hadn't thought about it anymore. She also kind of chimes in and lets us know in her confessional life that he has not, made this easy for her at all. I thought, that's so unfortunate. If anybody, I've never been through a divorce, but just even a breakup with somebody that maybe you share kids with or something like that. Sometimes it is like they kind of purposely seem to be making things difficult. And it's funny how we don't talk about, that men seem to be more bitter than women. And it's just really unfortunate, because most of this, and it's funny that it's probably due to a situation they put themselves in. And now that they're losing this person that they thought they wouldn't, they act out, and make things difficult. So that's unfortunate for Brit. But I think I'm not sure if her divorce is finalized just yet. Is it? I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that tomorrow. Okay, so now they go ahead and nope, let me move. We already there. Okay, Shamia finally gets her luggage. Okay, Shamia gets her luggage, and right in time, the girls are getting dressed. We are getting ready to go to the festival. Okay, the girls are in all black, honey. They are ready. Cynthia is smart because she got her long braids, so she didn't use her stocking to put on her braids. She didn't want that oil all in her braids. Good, smart thinking, Cynthia. Because they know they got to put this oil all over their body, and everything is about blackness. I wonder, we need to do something like that for us here. We really need to start thinking about that type of stuff, and really for ourselves, and not just kind of waiting on. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Okay, so like I said, they got on all their sexy black attire. Brit tells Shamia that she shouldn't wear her Chanel boots out. She got her tall Chanel boots on. She's like, we finna be all out and all this oil. Shamia says she going anyway. So here we go back to the money. So it ain't about the money why she didn't get on that plane. I don't know why she didn't get on that plane. She just did. Anyway, it wasn't about the money because she ready to mess those doggone Chanel boots right on up for this trip. Anyway, Shamia says she's going anyway. So now they ready to go, but not before they get another shot of clock. They're gonna get one before they leave the house, and they gonna make sure they get their shots while they are in the van. Of course, they are taking separate vans. Who's in the Porsha, Phaedra, Brit, and I don't remember who else was in that van with them. It wasn't Shamia. Shamia was in the other van with Kelly, and Drew must have been in the van with Porsha. Of course, Drew and Porsha had made up. Listen, made up might be a word that I'm using loosely, but they having a good time. That's what I like about Porsha, though. Porsha is a good time, fun girl. So, they having a good time. Ain't nobody got time to be trying to be on vacation and then having an attitude with somebody about something that is so silly. Because, again, it's my opinion that Drew was keeping it up. So, Porsha gave her what she needed. Now Drew can shut the F up, as she has. All right. Take note that she has. That's all. All right, but they in the car and they kind of talking about like how they like their man to be, different things. Porsha ends up telling us or showing us how she learned about the different muscles in her feet because she dated a guy who was a real foot guy. And I guess she decided to learn how to get a man a job with her feet, honey. Okay, that's real talented. I think Young Jock said that Carly know how to do that. That's why he was fooling with her. Mm-hmm. And that ain't alleged. That's on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. That's not alleged. That's for real. I'll say the girls are ready, Eddie. That was my note. Yes. After that, they are ready, Eddie. Okay. They get to the jab, and they are ready to oil up. They oiling up, baby. And it is like, it's dark. Everybody is all in the blackness. These men just got all of these muscles, and all you can see is like eyeballs. And honey, it's a lot. It's a lot going on, okay? And they just dancing. They just grinding, okay? So the girls get out, and now they right with them. This is the part that we love about the trips, and especially when they have trips like this, because everything was really fun. Now, let me tell you, I've always wanted to visit a carnival. That's something that is on my bucket list, and I'm glad I just mentioned it because I actually have to write it out because I have to figure out an actual year to do that. And that might be my next thing that I plan. Anyhow, so as I'm watching them here, I'm thinking, maybe this is fun. Maybe this is something we can do too. Honey, while I'm watching there, they decide to go over and get up on the truck. When they get up on the truck, they come across this man, honey. This man then picked Phaedra right on up, baby. Then picked her right on up. Spread her legs, baby, laid her down on this table and just was jabbing. Now, nobody said nothing about that going on at the jab. Honey, Phaedra says she is quite sure that man got a couple of them pregnant, honey, the same man. Okay, because he was over there with Porsha, honey, just jab. Because of course, like I said, everybody just grinding. Everybody, except for Angela. Shout out to Angela from Chi-Town. I told y'all Angela is a real chick. I knew it when Charles said she was from the West Side, though. But Angela wasn't grinding. She wasn't jabbing. She was over there footworking, okay? Let me see your footwork. Let me see your footwork. She was that, and she told them that too. So if y'all heard that little part in there, she was doing the footwork. Okay, that's what she was over there doing. Instead of her twerk. She said, I ain't got no twerk for you, but I got this footwork. Let me see your footwork. Let me see your footwork. That's a real Chicagoan. That's a real Chicagoan. I can see myself footworking at something like that for sure with the music. Angela, and she probably wanted to make sure she wasn't giving any of those men any invitation to come on up and jab. You see, the prime minister, he didn't mention nothing about jab. Like, man, he didn't mention nothing about the men gonna pick me up, lay me down on the ground, and jab. But they was looking fine and all that black oil, though. It was something kind of, it felt a little like, I know the girls having fun, and I agree with Phaedra. They probably got pregnant. And listen, also, I thought to myself, what y'all thought about Kenya? I'm glad she wasn't there because Kenya probably would have turned that into something like so horrible like she did with Bolo. I'm not saying that it's appropriate for the girl to sleep with strippers. What I am saying is that girl is grown and you can manage your business and you shouldn't have did that to her as a girl's trip. Like, Kenya's not a girl's girl. I said from that moment on, she couldn't come nowhere else with me. So I just could not imagine like what Kenya would have thought about what she saw was going on. However, we probably would have got more information. I can't admit that. Because Kenya gonna tell it all. She like a kid. Can't hold no water. She cannot hold no water. And so there we go. Kenya got a cameo without a cameo. Because I did think about her in that way. About what she would have thought what the girls was doing. And I feel like that's what made it fun too, because listen, it's like, listen, you in the culture, have fun. Don't be so like uncool. Like, yeah, don't be uncool in the words of Luann. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Okay, now Angela making fun of Porsha, talking about hell, she gonna have a hard time getting all that oil up off her big old tail. Okay. Cynthia gave Porsha the jab queen, because Porsha was jabbing. Okay. That seemed fun. But okay, this is what my note is. I was saying that now after all of that, it seemed really fun. But I have to admit that I really, really enjoyed the trip to Canada for Carnival. I did enjoy that just a little bit more. And I think that was more about all the colors. But here's the thing. I'm taking this back because these are two separate cultures and two separate purposes in as far as how they celebrate. And so they don't deserve to be compared to each other. So I take that back about me preferring. Maybe I should say that about the episode. That I preferred that trip and the kind of the episodes and thing that was going on during that particular season. So yeah, I did ask, did y'all miss Kenya on the trip? Now, have y'all had a chance to talk to go over to Kenya's YouTube? Have y'all subscribed? Y'all know she got a couple episodes out. And look, they actually are really produced really well, of course, because she does have access money, and she has her own media company. That's not a secret. And she's had it for quite some time, so she know what she's doing. And this space is a little bit easier to navigate for somebody with what her abilities are. So this is where my critique is. Do we want to see Kenya chime in on what she think is going on the Housewives of Atlanta? I'm gonna answer first. No. Okay. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Yeah, I know I don't. And then listen, the show is cute. She has everything is based around twirl. It's called Life Twirl Zone, right? And she has like twirl time, I think, where she does a little like twirl tea. It's kind of similar to a Nene setup, which funny thing about Brit and Kelly falling out about these stylists and this team is that I believe the girls probably share people more often than not. And so I'm not really sure why Kelly, is kind of using that as a thing to put a rift in between her friendship with Brit. Unless it's not something more, and maybe we're gonna find that out. But yeah, back to Kenya's YouTube really quick. So, and like I say, so she had something to say about Shamia and Porsha's friendship. I actually will be posting that over on my shorts. I'm gonna actually get it tonight because I meant to do that before I went live, actually. So she did have something to say. This is another critique that I have about the show. The things that she was talking about, we were kind of weeks behind. So I mean, I don't think that matters. Just like even as a creator on here, put your post out. Sometimes it might not get any traction until way later. So I don't think the subject part matter. But as far as if we want your opinion about it, that part might pass. But I guess it's Kenya, so I don't know. She'll get enough. It's no big deal. Her page will do fine. What I can say is that I do like that she keeps it about 20 something, 30 minutes. So that's cool. Because it's gonna be easy to go get the clips, right? And then share with y'all, and make sure you do subscribe to her channel. I did subscribe to her channel, but I don't think I'll be looking at every single one. And the same with Porsha's channel. I don't think I'll be looking at every single one. I think I have this conflicting thing where Porsha is concerned. I like Porsha, but I'm not condemning her about not being able to talk about Simon this season. Before we get into that, let me just finish this last little part, because now we are done with jab. Okay, they done jabbed all night long. And let's get to the next day, which is the last day of the trip. The girls are packing up, getting their suitcases ready to be loaded so they can head out. They meet up at the table outside, and start to discuss basically what anybody would want to know is how long it took them to get that oil off. So now we found out that Brit washed Phaedra all the way up. Phaedra said she was like a midwife after having her baby. Like she said she got her clean, honey. She done seen every crevice of her body. Now those are the things that makes me feel like possibly Brit is a girl's girl. I know that sounds so funny. Like, why is it because she washing Phaedra up like that make her a girl's girl? I don't think it makes her like, I don't think she was being perverted with that, right? I think she is a girl's girl that way. Like, and I think I understand a woman who might be comfortable with their body and like maybe comfortable with seeing other women's bodies that way, but not in this sexual way, I don't know. I'm giving Brit a lot of credit this review. Kudos to Brit. Brit did something right this episode, it seemed like, because I'm giving her a lot of kudos. A lot of points, I guess, more than usual. I can definitely admit that, more than usual. Okay, so like I said, so we find out that she didn't help Phaedra wash up. She washed her tail up real good. Now Brit did say, now this is the shady stuff we don't like, because she was like, if they had trouble, getting that oil off of them, like they don't know how to wash up properly. I don't even know what you mean by that. Like, what did you in the shower doing, to be quite honest? Why you talking about not knowing how to wash up properly? It's oil, girl. All right, so Drew asked Kelly how she feeling about her divorce and if she was ready. Kelly kind of said she is ready as she gonna be. Then she describes how when she finished up her call with the divorce lawyer, she was upset, sad, said she cried about it, and her crystal ends up breaking in half. Like she didn't have it in her hand or anything, it just kind of cracked in half on its own into two pieces. And so, everybody's asking, like, well, what does that mean? So she said that she Googled it and it was supposed to symbolize the end of a relationship. And so Drew asked, like, well, did that comfort her, about her divorce? And she said, yeah, it actually did. She did feel like that was kind of a sign for her. And so she said she think that maybe she should like throw the crystal in the ocean, like she didn't want to take it back. And I think I understand that if that's what she is using the crystals for, as that type of holistic healing, and I could see that. Yeah, throw it in the ocean. Porsha shows up, honey. She arrives late as usual. Porsha is always late. And of course says she had a really good time in her confessional, like this trip was what she needed. She felt like she bonded with the girls. I mean, it was a good trip, I think, overall. Outside of Shamia being passive aggressive with Brit, that was a little weird. Shamia has been doing a few weird things this season, as if she needed to do something to keep her spot. And that goes back to letting all these strangers just take care of your baby. And anyway, let me stop, go back. All right. So like I say, Porsha finally show up, honey. They asked Porsha how long it take her to get that oil off of her. She said she probably still got some on. Shamia said the same thing, honey. She said she probably still got some on her too. So now Kelly is going over to, I guess, to the edge of like this cliff that they're on, so that she could throw it over the side. And the girls walk over there with her to support her. And of course, as they're doing this, Kelly kind of talks about how they love how supportive they've been and the way that they show up and how they wish that they can keep this going when they go back to Atlanta. The same thing we hear every trip, right? But we know that that's not going to happen. We know that that's not going to happen. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's going to be enough to actually save the show. But what I do know is I'm going to be here to give you another review. And I'm going to try to make sure, of course, that I keep it on Mondays. So make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Like this video, okay? So you can be notified when I do go live, just in case I have to push the time back, okay? Now, this is what, so like I said, that's how that episode ended. I would love for y'all to let me know, what would you rate this episode? Listen, I've already just said that the season was mediocre, because I don't really see anything happening at this point that's going to do anything to the season. And like I said at the top of the show, or the top of the video, look at me talking about show. Like I said at the top of the video, oh, what was that? Is so funny. Have my like little thought pop right out. That's why I have to write down some of the things that I be like, oh, okay, I like this, like, so I can remember to say it. Oh, this is what I was saying. So like if Brit suing Bravo, about these photos, if this is like somehow the highlight, I think that goes to show that the season just really didn't make the mark. But listen, it wasn't as bad as the last two seasons. I continue to say that because it is true. And it's just been mediocre for me. Now, with that being said, let's just get into Porsha and Simon finalizing their divorce. Excuse me. Porsha pretty much wins. I wasn't surprised. I pretty much figured that her prenup had her taken care of. I think I was surprised to know that there was an actual arrangement about Simon giving her upwards to $30,000 just for being his girlfriend. So this was like I said, in reference to her leaving her jobs. That was a little surprising, but listen, I ain't mad at the girl. So basically, in the divorce, Simon is ordered to pay Porsha $40,000 a month. Big ups to Porsha for making sure she put that in her prenup. And she does keep access to the house. She does keep the house. I think the stipulation about the $40,000 a month is it's only for like 13 months, something like that. And with the house, if she sells it, she does have to split that money with Simon. But she won the house. Now I feel like, this was not surprising, but it was surprising in the court proceedings. And doggone, I'm gonna have to get the lady's name. But she actually had the Zoom that they were in, and so Porsha is on there admitting that she actually paid his child support for two of his children. And so she was saying that she had done that. I don't know why my son got this doggone air up so doggone cold. Anyway, and so she said she had done that because the ex-wife had reached out, was saying that the stuff hasn't been paid. And so she felt bad about it. So she paid it. I feel like I believe that. I don't know why anybody was feeling like they wouldn't believe it. And this lady is saying that on this court Zoom. And I'm almost certain that she also had to turn over proof that she has. So again, that was something when we try to debate if Porsha loves Simon or not. I say she did. Now, what she fell in love with, what she fell in love with, right? It may have been his access, okay, to what he was able to do and provide for her. That's true. But she still did care about him because she didn't have to pay that child support for him. Lakeisha. Give me some more about the Lakeisha. Oh, that's who got the yes, thank you. Thank you, Miss Dogan. Yes, you on top of it. That's who got the that is who has the Zoom with Porsha and Simon and their divorce proceedings. So listen, now Simon has been deported back to Nigeria. Nobody's surprised about that. And he is trying to insinuate that Porsha may have had her powerful friends contact ICE or tip them off. Listen, I feel like this, and I'm gonna just tell y'all this right off the bat. Listen, feeling like Porsha called ICE to come and pick up Simon is absurd. First of all, Simon at this point has made himself he's made himself a public figure, whether he is technically or not, right? He made himself a public figure. Not just did he make himself a public figure, but he has a visa that's deportable already. So that's the reason why he was over in Dubai. Porsha was able to come back and take over that house because he went to Dubai and he couldn't come back. Oh, no, they filed those charges. Okay, and so he went over to Dubai to avoid having to do anything with those charges. As soon as he stepped his tail right back in this doggone country, you think somebody didn't know to come and get him? Did nobody have to drop a dime on you? In the words of Kenya, drop a dime on him. Like, to drop a dime on you. You dropped a dime on your own tail. Well, you should have just went on the Zoom like you did there because you was in Nigeria on that Zoom. So you should have stayed, if that's what you wanted, stayed your tail over in Dubai and just got on the Zoom. But you too busy trying to taunt Porsha that you wanted to. That's what Porsha said that on the show, or said that in her YouTube. You know, she said that she didn't know why he requested to have that in person, but he did. And yeah, silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. Yeah, they got your tail. You thought you was above the law? And now I guess he's gonna be buddy with Mr. Man, who is pardoning whoever he can. We'll see how that work out. Simon, go away from us with this, okay? We're not ready to hear nothing you got for us. Go over there, figure out how you about to get your assets together, and pay this lady her money. Now, the good thing I feel like about if he decides not to pay her, she got the house, and so she could always just get whatever he owed out the house. So a win's a win. Porsha learned a lesson. That's what I learned from this. And Simon is the bozo. And what I learned from this also is Simon learned his lesson. Because let's not forget, on Porsha Family Matters, while they was engaged, he sat with Dennis. And he literally told Dennis, like, oh, I have a moving company come. Pack them up, move them right out. Dennis said it like, he do this all the time. Like, he already got him on speed dial. Look, Carlos said earlier, the ladies really care about their glam working with others because their glam knows all their business. Okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. But now I think the thing with Brit and Kelly is Kelly introduced her to her glam. So, and that's your bestie, right? That's your bestie. So we do feel a little shady. Like, well, then why you gonna take them away from me? Like, now I get it. She expected Brit to find her own, but she didn't. But that's your bestie. And I feel like you in competition with your bestie. You know what I mean? Like, you think the stylist is going to do something, you know what I mean? Like, it's giving weird energy. It's giving they wasn't friends at all. And yeah, that's what it's giving, because that's weird. That's weird energy. Even though I get what you're saying, because you're right. That's what happened with Drew and her assistant, Anthony, that worked with Sheree. Well, we believe Brit wasn't paying. We do believe that. We don't need no receipts on that. We saw those receipts already, right? Okay, y'all. Now, what was I finna say? I think I was done, right, with Porsha and Simon. Oh no, I was talking about what Dennis had said on Porsha Family Matters. So Dennis said that in that show, he was like, "Dang, like." Porsha better watch out, man. Like he knew to this. He ain't new to this. He run him up out of here, which is why Fallon ended up how she ended up. So you know what? And I can see now why Porsha and Dennis, like Ace Boom Coons. Because Dennis probably did make sure he put that bug in her ear. Like, you better make sure you take care of yourself because this one right here. So Simon, you probably done ran 4 different wives. Ain't that it? It was 4 different wives through the mud, and left them with nothing and depending on your little money. And so you got what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So we glad that Porsha won, right? We glad that Porsha won. Yes. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for joining me for this week's review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. If you have not already liked this video, make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to my channel. I am going live on Wednesday. We are going to get caught up on Basketball Wives. I know it came on tonight and you want to join me on Wednesday so we can talk about it because I have unpopular opinions again about Jackie and Chantel, okay? Unpopular opinions. Always smart and thoughtful, but unpopular, okay? And we're going to keep it cute, nice, and what I say? Nice, nasty? Nice, nasty. But thanks so much for joining me, guys. Make sure y'all like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll holler at y'all later. Thank you, Miss Dugan. I appreciate you for checking in with me again. It's been real. Oh, yeah. And it's my birthday. It's my birthday. I am 45 years old right now. Yay, me. Okay, y'all. Good night. Good night. Good night. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video, okay? I'll holla.